Hey, it's the publisher here, Mr. Kelly Cole. Listen, if you are a former professional athlete, if you are a former college athlete or sports coach, and you're looking to launch your speaking career, let me tell you, you need a book. If you're already out there speaking and you want to track more high paid speaking engagements, you need a book. It's not about creating more content to post on social media. It's not about recording a bunch of videos. It's not about doing more podcasts. The number one secret to attracting more high paid speaking engagements or even launching your speaking career is a book. Hey, I'm the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole, and I help former athletes and sports coaches create best-selling books in 30 days to launch their speaking career, even if they hate writing and don't know where to start. So for the first time ever, I've created a free case study video that will not only show you how to write a book from scratch in as little as 30 days and become a best-selling author, it will also show you how to attract more high-paid speaking engagements. Now, to check out this free case study video, click the link that says learn more or go to booksforathletes.com. Real quick before you go, do not go if you're not a former athlete or sports coach, because you won't find any value in what I'm about to share. And don't go if your book is already out and already on Amazon. You won't find any value in what I share over there. But if you are a former athlete or sports coach, know that you need a book, or already out there speaking and you want to launch your speaking career, go check out that link now. Writing a book is not as hard as you think. It doesn't even matter if you don't know where to start. My case study video will show you how to start and get it done and onto the bestsellers list. So go now.
Welcome to the Books for Athletes podcast with your host, the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole. Mr. Cole, a former athlete and best-selling author himself, has set out to take you behind the scenes of some of sports' forgotten heroes. He sits down with former professional athletes, college athletes, and sports coaches as they share stories of triumph, defeat, dedication, and perseverance. Here's Kelly.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Books for Athletes podcast. Today, I have a special guest, and we just got done talking before I hit record. We are family. She don't know we locked in for life. Once you become my family, we're family for life. But I'm gonna call you Miss Carmen. How you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Cool. So you wrote this amazing book, The Momager of Jonathan Greenard. Am I saying it right?
That's correct,
Okay.
Greenard.
Okay, cool. NFL defensive end. He was with the Texans. Now he's with the Vikings, correct?
That's correct.
Now I can't root for him. I can't
Why
root for
not?
him. I'm a Bears fan, and my family in Chicago would beat me. But no. Welcome to the show. Tell the people a little bit about who you are before we dive in and start talking about the book.
Oh, well, of course, I'm an NFL mom of Jonathan Greenard. I'm a retired mother working in healthcare for many years. And once I retired, I found myself in a new place, being widowed, number one, and also just navigating, managing Jonathan Greenard through the process as he encountered going into the NFL. So now that we're here, I just tried to find my purpose in life, and that was to go into writing. And I wanted to write about my process of how I got through getting him to where he is today. So I thought I'll put it in a book because a lot of parents do call, they don't know, and mainly the middle school and high schoolers, they're wanting to know how, when they get the scholarship, what process do they go through? And there was a lot of things, key points that they were missing. So no other way, put it in the book, and that way I could put it out there and it will help a lot of parents.
That's good. Good stuff. Yeah, I read the book, very easy read, especially for somebody like me. Most people don't know this about me, but I am dyslexic. So I see stuff all kind of ways. But if you talk to me or you heard me read, you wouldn't know. But yeah, very easy read. I was able to read it in a day. I loved all of the information you shared in the book. So I'm not gonna give them all of the stuff, but I do got some questions. So like, what gave you that drive to work so hard and to push both of your sons until, your other son decided to go a different direction?
Well, I was raised in foster care. And so by that journey in my life, I've always said that when I had children, I would give them as much as I could so they won't have to deal with the things that I had to go through in life. And so that was my drive as a mother. And I did that. I sacrificed a lot. I put a lot of things on hold when I decided to start having children because they require so much of us. And so I was selfless in that part of rearing my children. So there's just no way I was going to let them fall by the wayside. So that was my drive, was the way that I've raised them up until this day.
Yeah, not wanting them to go through what you go through. I think,
Yeah.
that's for most parents. I'm not gonna say all. That's our desire. I saw a quote online that says, "Only your father is the only man who will want you to grow up and be a better man than them."
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
agree with that 100%. So
Yeah.
like you talk about it in the book when he came home and said that he wanted to go to the NFL. Was there a point where you knew he was going to go? Like, did you get confirmation, or was there a point in his career that you knew he was going to go?
Believe it or not, as a mother, when Jonathan was 2 years old, I'm gonna take it way back. It was an
Wow.
Easter Sunday, and his siblings, older siblings, his brother is 4 years older, and his sister is 10 years older, and
Mhm.
they were doing Easter egg hunt one Sunday in the front yard of their grandmother's house. And it was the way that Jonathan was running, trying to catch up with them. His legs, he was always a big boy. He was 10 pounds, 4 ounces at birth, 23 inches long. So he had those long legs. He was picking up just running behind him. And I looked at him and I said, he's going to be very athletic. I said those exact words. And when he was 4, I was at a PCA meeting, and his Pop Warner football coach saw me at the PTA meeting with my daughter, and he said, "How old is he? Does he play sports?" I said, "No." He said, "How old?" I said, "4." He said, "4." He said, "Well, when he turned 5, take my business card, give me a call. I do recreational football." And I held onto the card for another year. And that's when that year came. And I told my husband, let's put the boys in sports. And Jonathan really just latched onto it. And then it went from Pop Warner to the middle school level. And one day we were talking. Jonathan is an anointed gospel singer. And I
Wow.
asked him, what did he want to do? Because he was in the choir at church, and he was in a big McDonald's gift competition they had here in Atlanta. And he said, "Well, Mom, my desire is to play football." He said, "I want to become a professional football player." And when, because the Florida Gators was his favorite college team, living here in Georgia. And so I just stuck with it. And when I saw the talent, I saw how he was excelling on every level. Each year, he was just getting better and better. And that's when I said, okay, let me find out what we can do. And my husband had a friend that was a scout. He said, let him see some of his huddle film from high school. And
Yeah.
so we gathered the film, and then he taught us how to condense that down to key points of him in his play, because he started out running back and then he changed over to the linebacker position in defense. And so once we condensed that film for huddle, we did that and put it back online. And that's when Todd Grantham, he was a defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys at one time. Then he went back to college, but at this point he was at the University of Louisville, and his son saw the film and said, "Dad, check out this guy." So that's how it just went from there. Because when the scout saw the film, once he taught us what to do, he said, "I'll call you back in a day." He called us back in 15 minutes. He said, "Wow, this kid is something about this kid. He has that it factor." But I saw the same thing in him. But I asked him, and when he told me what he wanted to do, that was my key as a parent to do what I need to do. And I know I'm mom, but dad had his part in it too, because dad knew the game. I didn't know the game. I didn't learn the game too much later, but I started getting the information of what I needed to do, as well as my husband, to get him to where he is. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate in so many ways. So my son had a similar thing. He is a national Christian recording artist, but his thing was basketball. And it came to a point, and I was like, "Son, what do you want to do?" He's like, "I want to do music with my life," and had to leave basketball. So it's funny, and then
It's
and
blocked.
yeah, it's the opposite. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I was like, "Okay, son, if you're serious, I got you." I said, and the first thing I told him was, "Hey, you can't be like everybody else. Now that you've made this decision, everything is going to be different." So yeah. So how did you, I know for me, it was kind of tough sometimes managing being a dad and being his manager. Like, how did you manage that over the years?
Well, when your children get older, sometimes, as being mom, and I've always been a disciplinarian, I had to come to the understanding that you have to keep that respect. He respects me, but I still have to respect him as a young man.
Yeah.
And it's how you communicate with your young children, young adult children. And it wasn't a struggle, but there were times we did kind of clash. And I'm like, son, listen, um, I didn't want to just beat him down to say, I'm old, I've been there, done that. But to a degree, I was kind of trying to tell him that. But then I learned how to back, and it's how you convey things to them to help them understand or listen more. And when he told me that, he was like, Mom, I know, you're older. And he was like, I do know this. And I was like, okay, so I learned to listen to him a little bit too, give him that respect. And once we did that, it worked better for him. And even going into the process after high school, getting the scholarship, going through the clearinghouse process and so forth, I just kind of like he allowed me, because there's so much that the student can do anyway. And so when it comes to that, because you don't want to mess up the rules when it comes to the NCAA and violations and those sort of things. And so he said, well, Mama, I'll let you do all the research when it comes to the agents and all that. And he know about the agency. So once I spoke with them and did all the lead work, I will come back and convey that information that I obtained with him. And then he'll be like, yay or nay, because he really did have a knowledge of the agents and whom they represented and all those things. And so that helped me too. That way, when the blind one leading the blind, right. And with that process, it worked. And he made the final decision of whom he wanted to go with. Now, if he did choose an agent or something like someone that I didn't agree, I would give him a reason why, a key factor of why I would not select that person. Now that's where my wisdom came in. And then, I felt that he would trust my judgment. And in that case, it was a situation came up where he trusted my judgment because it was some key factors, the longevity, who they represented, and how long they represented this person. It was a lot of little key factors that I had to put into place to show him. Just because this person say, I'm gonna give you this and give you that and dangle stuff in your face, you just can't jump at everything. So that was how we were able to navigate through that process, and it worked perfectly.
Yo, what up? It's your girl, JC, and listen, I have to send a special shout out to my guy, Mr. Kelly Cole, and the entire team at Publishing Advantage Group and Books for Athletes. They took so great care of me to the point that I know I'm the pickiest person. This book was supposed to have been finished last summer. However, there were some details that I needed to make sure that the book had because my audience needed it. And, when it comes down to feeding and serving the people, especially as a former athlete and telling your story, you cannot be selfish with the material and give it away. And they worked with me from the time of my thought process to the time of conception, all the way down to now, top 20 hot release best-selling author on Amazon in 24 hours. Listen, if you're an athlete, you have a story to tell, and you don't know how to put it in book form just yet, don't worry, you're not alone, okay? Hit my guy, Mr. Kelly Cole, and tell him what you're trying to do, and I promise you he gonna get you right, all right? And of course, check me out on Amazon after the season. Shout out to the Books for Athletes family.
That's awesome. So coming up, because this was an issue for me and my son. How did you keep the young ladies away? I know he's happily married now and beautiful wedding. How did you keep that part? Because if we're honest, even from the biblical days, the key fall of a man, the devil's tricks hadn't changed. He used a woman. So how did you keep the women away? How did you get him to this point without falling into that stuff?
When the recruiting process started for college and we would go to those college camps, those women were standing right by the wayside. But I stood right beside my son. And I constantly would talk to my children about the women and my daughter about the men.
Yeah.
And I tell Jonathan, the women's going to be here till the end of time when you're gone. I said, but you got to know that you know. And I say, biblically, I've taught them about different things as far as fornicating, all those different things.
Yeah.
And I say, there are consequences for your action. And I say, you can do things and you can pray and ask God to forgive you, but you're going to still deal with the consequences behind your actions. And that's one thing parents, a lot of people don't want to talk about that. Yeah. They just say, okay, well, God will forgive you, but then you don't know what's going to come behind that. And then it could be so detrimental, and it could be beyond repair or coming back from it. And so that's how I talk to my children. I keep it real with them. Mm-hmm. Also with the women, I tell Jonathan, you treat your woman the way you want a man to treat your mother and want him to treat your daughter. Yeah. And I say, and if it's not right, just like if it's a duck and it quack like a duck, it's a duck. So if you know it's not right, why put yourself out there? So you have to be very careful dealing with these things, because you can get in a situation that can be so innocent, they can turn out to be so tragic and detrimental for you and your career. You have to really think, and I just talked to him about the women's, and he's experienced a couple little things, and I think those things kind of shaped him to let him know, okay, mama was telling the truth about this, and I don't need to be, get myself like this again. Because I always tell my kids, don't embarrass me, don't embarrass our name. I said, because you know better. You cannot say that I have not talked to you. A lot of kids don't have anybody to talk to. Yeah. But my children, and they had their mother, they had their father to really train and guide them. And so I think when he got into the University of Florida after he graduated from Louisville, and he met his wife, I felt that she was a great fit for him. But still, I didn't have a whole lot to say. I kind of stand back, and sometimes we could say too much, and it'll push them closer and closer. I just prayed about it, Lord. If it's not meant for him, I'll let you handle that situation. Some things you got to take it to God and leave it and allow him to work it out. And that's what I did too when it came to the women that they chose. But I did tell them, I said, look at your mom. I say they should have standards. They should have morals. They should have class. And they should have a relationship with God. If they don't have that, don't. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Without that foundation, because he may not. Well, he may, because he had you, but when it gets tough, like when he got injured.
Yes,
I read
that was tough.
When he got injured,
that was tough.
He needed if replace you with his wife. Say he gets injured, God forbid. He needed a praying woman next to him to get him through that.
To get him through it. Yeah. Yes, and I feel that she's a good wife for him. And so but you're right, the injuries and things do come up, and this is your career, and the longevity is not long, so you have to try to have things in place, but that day is going to come. It's going to be your final day on that field, and then your mind has to transition, because you've been doing this all your life. And so you do need to have a good mate that has that's biblical foundation and know what to say and how to uplift and encourage you. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I'm working with a lot of, I work with a lot of athletes and doing their books. Like you said, that last day, they never look forward to it. And a lot of them don't know what they're going to transition into until it's time. Has he communicated anything he wants to do after the game, or is he so focused on the game right now?
He has some ideas. I do know that he wants to open up a workout facility in our area, in our town, because that's something that we don't have on this side of town. And there are several big high schools. Hargrove, that's the young man that played the quarterback for Chicago. I almost said his name.
Oh, Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, he's from our area. We have a big high school called Markeachon. That's a big feeder school in our area. But we don't have facilities. When Jonathan got ready to go to Louisville, it's a gentleman that he's a triathlon trainer. He has a facility on our side. I went to him, and he had a trainer that worked with Jonathan personally, and Todd Grantham sent the workout plan for Louisville before he went. That's the way I had to navigate through that, because I didn't know anyone on this side of town. It's all passed through the city of Atlanta on the other side. And so he's talking about investing in something, doing that to have, because there's a lot of talent out here. And that's a good way to give back to the community. Also, Jonathan is good in communication and speaking, because he does the interviews and stuff. And he did take communication course at the University of Louisville. And I can really see the difference from when he first started, and they would do little mock interviews and stuff like that, to how it has elevated to where he is today. And so I noticed when he went from Louisville to Florida, even to Houston, to where he is now. They will put that camera in his face, put that mic in his face, because he is that type of person that presents himself in that manner. So broadcasting is another area that he could possibly go in. So we talk about it, and he is working on some things. So he's focused on now, but he's also focused on post after the season is over.
That's good. Yeah, I would tell him to go ahead and get that building now and get that gym up and have somebody else run it. Other thing, I can see him on TV. I saw him on that episode of The Bachelor, and he was a natural. He was a natural. He didn't look nervous. He didn't look like an athlete. You know, we knew he was an athlete, but he was a natural.
He's a natural, yeah.
So
very talented.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, in reading the book, what would you say, the most important thing you would want a mom or a parent who has a kid that has dreams of going to the NFL? What's the one thing you wish they take away from this book?
I want them to focus on their children getting an education, because knowing in this sport, anything can possibly happen at any given time. And the key thing to it mainly is consistency. And you got to really put that hard work in that gym. And it's not just during the season and off season, it's year round.
Yeah.
And my son, I watch my son, he really works hard. He goes to different camps and different things that they have to help train his body, to protect his body. And so that alone, I say, in the classroom, starting out, middle, high school, college, find out what you want to do outside of football.
Yep.
And when you go to school to get your education, you get those scholarships, it's to get the education.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler Campbell, and I am the author of The Ball Came Out, Life on the Other Side of the Field, brought to you by none other than the Publishing Advantage Group, Kelly Cole, and the entire team. Let me tell y'all something about them. Listen, they are there to help you. They really want to see you win. They want to help you get that message out. And collectively, as a team, you never feel like you're alone. There's no such thing as a bad question. They know the industry so well that they help you convey the message that will feed the masses of individuals that you come across. My book is #2 new release book on Amazon already, and it's already an Amazon bestseller. I hadn't even been a full week yet. All right. These individuals know what they know about the industry, and they share it with you. Right. And they only want to see you win. You're handled with care. Make your book a bestseller today and go with the Publishing Advantage Group. They want nothing but the best for you.
You know, you have that talent of playing football, but it's allowing you to go to school to get a free education. Focus on something outside of football, period, done. And I always told my son, that's what that scholarship is for. But if you are selected to play ball and then you go into the NFL, that's just an added blessing, a bonus from God. Yeah. And that's why I allowed my children to give God time. You had to do something in the church when you was playing these sports, because God bless you with the gift. Yeah. And so the main focus to parents, focus on education. When Jonathan went to the University of Louisville, we went to open house, just like high school or whatever. And we met with the professors of what he wanted to major in. And so we're showing them, we're not just there for the stadium and the hoorah and all that. We're there for him to get that paper, because once you got that, they can't take that away. Yeah. So that's a key thing for me, is education when it comes to this.
That's good. That's so good. Yeah, one of the things when I took my daughter to orientation, I'll never forget. And you don't think about it this way. He says, if you call all of the freshmen parents, he said, if you call your son or your daughter and you ask them what were they thinking, he said, guess what? They wasn't thinking. Their brain is not even fully developed yet. No. And I was like, wow, your brain doesn't develop until you're 25.
Yes, yes.
So you ask them, what were you thinking? They really wasn't thinking. Their brain is not even fully developed yet. So I think that's very important. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So education, focus on the education. So how did you learn all of the resources? Because you put a lot of resources in the book. How did you learn all of those resources?
When Jonathan when he got the scholarship offer, gentleman, it was an old barber from when they was little boys. He connected me with Eric Berry. He played with the Kansas City Chiefs. His mother, she lives here. And he said, Miss Carmen, she can kind of give you some pointers of how to, navigate this NFL process because I didn't know. And I called her and she was very open, very warm. She said, any questions you have, lay it out there. She did talk to me first, and then I started asking questions, but I didn't really know what to ask because I just didn't know. But the things that she did tell me about when it comes to the NFL, and then how the moms how they move in this arena. Gradually, when you have a high profile child playing sports, you start getting phone calls, and people started calling me. For instance, like insurance agent because they need a certain type of insurance. Well, really, that started at Florida because normally the school if a high profile player such as my son was 2019 at the University of Florida, they normally do a policy on them. So if they get a career-ending injury, they have like that $1 million policy with Florida London.
Yeah.
The school did not offer it. Another gentleman that's an insurance agent called me, which was great for me. And so what I did was I checked into it, and I did get that policy because my son was playing a lot. He was a starter player. He was a key player. And if something happened, God forbid, at least I had that $1 million policy in place. See, people don't know nothing about that.
Yeah.
And so people, that's how I started getting phone calls. And then, of course, agents started calling me. And when the agent started calling, that's when I had to sit down and talk with my son. Since he knew something about agency, he's like, okay, Mom, will you talk to him? So when they call me, we'll set up a meeting at a restaurant or my home or however we set up a meeting, and they will bring all their literature because they're going to come at you. They're going to have your son's face and name plastered on their information, and you're going to look at them like, oh, my son, but don't get caught up in that. You got to do your research on those agents and have your little cheat sheet there on the table when they're talking to you. And once you gather that, okay, that's a check. Put their name on my list, check it off, go to the next because they're gonna start coming. When you have a high profile player, it doesn't work like that for everybody. But in my case, they were coming, and so that was another way. Then, as a mom, as a parent, okay, my son, once he finished college, he get ready for the combine. You have your agent. You talk about how he could potentially go in first, second, third. Okay, the percentage of what the agent's gonna get. Okay, you need to talk about a financial advisor. You need to talk about a CPA because people don't think about it. You got to pay taxes on this money.
Yeah.
So you need to have these things in place. So when that day comes and he gets selected for the NFL, whichever way he goes in, you're gonna have these things in place because then that's when the checks you're gonna get paid. And so if you don't have a financial advisor, somebody to guide you, now you might have a parent that's a CPA or I did work in accounting, but that was this right here. This money was a little beyond my spectrum. So I need to get a professional that know how to tell him how to put away, how to balance things out. And I'm there watching and listening along with him because I'm older and wiser. But I did teach my children how to handle a checkbook, a savings account, a checking account. And that's like their junior, senior year in high school, even though I'm the guardianship, but this is your money. This is what you're going to put in. This is what you're going to subtract. Your balances, that checks and balances, stuff like that. So they had a knowledge or understanding of that. And so the basic fundamentals. And so when we got here to this point, because when I spoke with the insurance guys, that's when he connected me with a CPA. And then the financial advisors, they come into you at the games doing halftime, that sort of stuff. And so you got to, you take their information and you try to look at the company, the history of that establishment. And so we did have to narrow that down as well, too, from Charles Schwab, Raymond James. You got all these different people coming at you. And so it could be a little bit overwhelming, but I was determined that no one was going to take advantage of my son. And so we sat down. And one thing about my son, the way I've raised him, he always says that we kind of like are alike in so many ways. And he's a CEO. He handles his own money. But I've guided him. I've instructed him and shown him how to do these things. So now that it's on a broader spectrum, it's not like foreign language to him. And so that's what I had to do. And everything, I thank God, it fell in place. And I know a lot of people, they might talk about the Lord, but in my spirit, I felt they had that connection because they was talking, they was like kindred spirits like mine in
Mhm.
our conversations. And that made a big difference. Even his attorney, you just can't get a regular attorney. You
Right.
need a entertainment attorney that deals with entertainment and athletes. You need a special type of attorney that can assist you on that can read over the contract to make sure that the literature is correct, the right verbiage for what you're going to be signing.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's Dennis Haley. I am the author of the playbook, The Art of Dreaming. Um, just want to say a special thank you to Kelly Cole and the Publishing Advantage Group team. Man, they were with me from day one until the time I finished, and still with me to this day. What a blessing to have them be with me and to walk me through this journey and to be a part of this journey. They have been nothing but class acts, and they know what they're talking about. And just again, it is a blessing to be a part of this team and for them to guide me down the path to success. So thank you for everything that you have done. I look forward to many more projects with you guys and continue to be a blessing to many. Thank you.
And
Right.
so I had to do that. And we had several meetings prior to, and to make sure that we was on the right path. And that's just how it's been. It's worked. It's worked perfect.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love where you talk about in the book, you chose the agent, y'all chose the agent because he stayed loyal even when he got the injury.
Yeah.
And it's important when the others start falling off,
Hmm.
they stay loyal. And that shows you that people see you as a person, like you said,
Hmm.
not just dollar signs of what they can get from you.
Right. Right. That was a big thing for me. A lot they did drop off. And some, I mean, like I said, they dropped, they don't even tell you that, they just don't call no more. And so, and you know what, the thing about it, when they come at you, they want to make you feel like family, of course,
Yeah.
but you really see who's who when something happens. I do tell the kids, be careful of your social media page. Be careful what you do outside of the football arena in college, because that stuff follows you. And it just takes one little thing and they will disappear. Because I notice now with the NFL, back in the day, a lot of stuff would be going on with these athletes. And it's now I notice they're tired of it. And it's like, it's a one strike thing, you're done. They're not even giving you another second chance or anything. And so these young kids have to really think and make better choices, because it could follow them for the rest of their lives. And so that was another key factor. Be careful what you put on social media, what you say. Don't get caught up in politics and stuff. Don't argue with nobody on social media.
Right.
Especially that Twitter. That Twitter is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And once you post it, you cannot erase it. They got it. Click. And then so, it was a lot of things like that I really had to discuss with him. But yes, putting that team together, I call it a team. The
Yeah.
financial advisor, your CPA, your attorney, and your insurance guy. And everybody needs to stay in their lane. I don't need this person trying to tell me about what this person should be doing. No, you stay focused, because we're going to deal with that. If it's not going right, we'll have a meeting of the minds. And if we cannot come to an understanding, then we can get somebody else. So when you have a team, you got to make sure that everybody's staying in their lane and everybody remains respectful to each other. Because at the end of the day, Jonathan is that CEO and he can make that final decision.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Good stuff. All right, we could do this all day. Like I said, we're family, so I'm sure we'll be doing many more things together. All right, before I let you go, if there is a mother right now, single mom, she sees, her child has some ability or he has that it factor, give them a word or give them something, a word of encouragement if they may be going through right now.
Let them know a delay is not a deny. You have to trust God in the process. He will give you the desires of your heart, but you do have to work at it. And if you have a son that's in sports and he's not doing right or whatever, I pray over my kids daily. I always pray over them. But sometimes you got to pull back and take some things away to hold them accountable for their actions, because that's a lot of I see is accountability when it comes to children, and when they're going through a behavior or whatever in school. Pull back, take some things away, because I had to do that to show my children I wasn't playing with them. And once you hold them accountable for stuff, it makes them look at things different, makes them appreciate things more. But you got to stand your ground when it comes to your children. Listen, talk to them, but listen to them also. Because sometimes just listening to them talk, they'll tell you a little bit more what they may be going through. Because we don't know everything that our children are going through. Sometimes they keep things to themselves. It's just how you approach them. But just always let them know a delay is not a deny. Whatever may be happening that's keeping them from being able to do or get to where they need to be, and they want to, play sports. Don't argue with the coaches. Talk to the coaches. That's another thing, because you can put a strike against your child when you're going back and forth with coaches. I never had an altercation with a coach since my kids was playing sports. I allowed my husband to deal with some things, but I never did that because it can blackball your child. I say that. So whatever may be dealing with your child, talk to them, listen to them, and then you all try to come up with a good solution. But trust God in the process. And I always say a delay is not a deny.
That's so good. Thank you so much. Kudos to you.
Thank
Your
you.
late husband, Jonathan's father, who passed away as well. Thank God we don't look like what we've been through.
No. And I thank him every day.
He is so good. You do not look old enough to have a grown son in the NFL.
56.
And like you said, yeah. And then, just to go through like your story, a little bit that you touch on in the book, you don't look like
Yes.
what you've been through. And that's a testament to the Lord and your faithfulness to him. So
Thank
grateful. Last thing, where can the people find you, book you to speak, purchase the book, and any other thing you want to share?
You can go to Amazon.com, plug in my name, Carmen Greenard-Varnum, and all 4 of my books will come up. If you want to book me for a speaking engagement or whatever, my email, carmenvarnum@yahoo.com. That's carmenvarnum@yahoo.com. Shoot me an email and I will respond.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
Listen, thanks so much for checking out this episode of the Books for Athletes podcast. Do me a favor, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode. We want to help more athletes tell their story. We want to help more athletes get their story out. So if you could support this podcast, all I need you to do is like, comment, share, and please subscribe to my channel so we can grow on YouTube and start monetizing this channel. All right. If you prefer to listen, we're on all podcast listening platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Wherever you are, please like, subscribe, comment, and please share this episode with someone. And I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one.